When I was beginning to tell you about FONDA.
Yeah, no, I'm very interested in FONDA because that was where there was hope.
There was hope there, you know, genuine hope. What had happened, OMC had gone off and decided that they were doing their thing and they were going big. They weren't, it was unlimited. They would not recognise 2 litres as the maximum to go to, which economic. They should have told them.
Who could do it?
Yeah, we could do it. They had 2 litre engines, good 2 litre engines, but they didn't develop them the way that Mercury did. So it would have worked, but no, they went off big. Mercury refused to go down that road. They said no, and the likes of Bob, Tom Percival, Jenkins all said, look Jack, you finished racing, why don't you create a drivers association? You've got our 100% backing.
Yeah.
I got letters from the lot of them, so I thought, right, on the strength of this I can do it.
I'm just going to slide this over just a smidgen, only because you're getting into this now, I can tell, Jack.
Alright.
Yeah.
So, I mean, with great gusto, I mean, I had a telephone bill of like £500.
Because you're phoning everybody.
I'm phoning everybody.
None of this email stuff and this...
No, there was no emails. This is telephone, word of mouth, all over the world.
Yeah.
I mean, to every European country, to America, the lot, and I got an awful lot of people. And in fact, there's a list in one of the... I did only 4 copies of the FONDA newsletter. You know, 4 different...
You still got one? Is it in the briefcase?
It's in the briefcase at Mark's. I've done 12 copies of each. My son-in-law did them.
Yep.
So yeah, you can have.
Oh, we loved. That's huge history.
I mean, that is good history.
That's the heyday. That's the heyday.
So anyway, I called Galbraith to the first meeting and said, look, listen, this is what we want to do. And Galbraith had gone to OMC and he says, it ain't never going to work. I says, I'll make it work. So I got all the people, and then they came out with the deal offering big money to all the drivers. Well, I mean, you know the story.
That was a backroom deal, right?
Oh, that was a backroom deal. Ericsson from Sweden, who'd all promised faithfully to support the 2 litre series.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Up it goes, yep.
Yeah, that was it. So we went ahead, organised the races. We'd got 10 races in the series, including Paris. Parkinson was instrumental in talking to all the dignitaries from all the races, and yeah, we got 10 races for sure.
That's a great series. Great 10 races.
We held a lot, and then Parkinson said to me one day, how are you getting on with this? I says, I'll tell you what, I can't do it any longer. I said, because it's killing the business. I said, A, I'm not spending any time with the business. B, it's taking all the money, you know. Said I got the telephone bill alone of 500 quid. The postage is a couple of £100 for everything I'm sending out. Mercury, I got a cheque from Mercury for £500. So that was out of the blue without asking for it. Then Mercury came on board and said they'd support the series. Then they'd do deals for people, and then we got 2-way deals whereby most of the guys had a sprint boat and a marathon. So if the Americans came over to England, they could use the English boats.
Right.
And Vicky Verkey, you see.
Yep. Beauty. So very nice.
It was, and then Mercury's, bless them, did special deals for engines for all the privateers. And I mean,
but you need them to fill the field.
That's right, because it's no good having 3 drivers and nobody to pass. So they needed all the dross, all of them.
Yep.
And we'd got some hell of it. We were getting 19 and 20 boats to a field to every event, so it was a success. OMC weren't getting these numbers. They didn't have these venues either.
Right.
And we picked the best venues, you see, but then the battle started. Then they started going underhand. I mean, we'd got Seville on board. This is the classic example. And I'd got them signed, sealed. I'd brought back a £7,000 pound cheque from Mercato, the supermarket chain. They were sponsoring the race. And that was it. Then, like a month later, OMC had got it. We'd still got the money. We'd got the contract with Mercato. What the hell's going on here? So Parkinson is a very honourable man, and he sent them the cheque back, you know, which we could well have kept.
Right. And said...
And that's it. Well, that's the race where Spalding got trapped under the boat, the Seville race. and he was under far too long, you know, and he had a stroke, and that was it. He was never the same after that, wasn't Bob? And then, of course, that same season, Percival got caught up in Liège, and he got killed, impaled on the bankment, you know. So that was that. So it didn't really last long, didn't the OMC ride, in spite of all the money that was poked in on it. And they were doing well at that time, OMC. And if only they'd have pooled the resources, Mercury and OMC, we could have had the television, we could have bought television time. They'd have been glad to jump on board.
Yeah.
We could have had newspapers following it everywhere, and instead of all they really ever reported on was the battle. The magazines, the battle. It's time they got their act together. Powerboat magazine, Rosno, who was a true racer really, began to say, yeah, it's time Mercury, you know, jumped on with OMC. What the hell did we want to do that for? They'd already got into her knickers at OMC, you know, so the whole deal was screwed up because she was heavy with Chris Hodges at the time, was Ros. I mean, they were living together. So, of course, she was favouring OMC and Hodges. And that was the way that the bloody cookie was crumbling in those days. And it was bought and paid for. And instead of opening up like that, they should have closed ranks. You know, they should have started the school and the licensing whereby you had to do the proper races.
Had to come the progression, back to the progression. And you could have run those lower classes as entertainment.
You could have given them money as well.
Yeah, and made it worthwhile. Yeah. Bring the drivers up through the ranks because you can see who's progressing, and who's got the skill.
Well, Formula 1 don't do it on its own. It's got Formula 2, it's got the GP cars.
Absolutely, and all of those are money earners.
That's right.
They're all entertainment, and they all, when you bring the show to town, you've got a couple of days of racing.
Well, I mean, countries sponsor the races of Formula 1.
Yes.
That's what we really needed to aim for in those days. And it was just the bloody stupidity and pig-headedness of two factories that would not work together.